Welcome to Stitchery Stories, where textile artists share their life in fabric and thread, inspiration, techniques, disasters and delights. And I'm Susan Weeks, enthusiastic embroiderer and textile art dabbler who also loves podcasting. So take a break and enjoy our light-hearted chat, and please share with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Hiya, do you teach in-person art and craft classes and workshops? Or do you know someone who does? I'm Susan Weeks, and you know me as the host of this podcast. However, in my business, I am the Crafty Course Profit Booster. And I teach creative people how to create profitable online on-demand versions of their popular in-person art and craft classes. Yes, even if they are worried by the techie stuff. So if you would love more profit and less stress from teaching what you love, then I am creating a range of unique resources and courses for you. Visit the info page on the stitcherystories.com website for more details as they develop. And now, let's welcome today's fabulous guest. Hello and welcome today to our lovely guests. I've got Maria Walker and Hayley Styles, and they are here to represent the Prism group of textile artists. Hello to you both.
Hi, Sue.
Lovely to talk to you. And, do you know, I think this is the longest organised one I've had. Possibly the red dress might beat you, but yeah, when was it? October, November, when we were talking about doing this? So yeah, welcome to you both after all this time.
Oh, thanks. It's lovely to be here. Yes, November seems like a different lifetime, doesn't it now?
It really, really does. So, yes, I've got a little bio here which just explains about Prism and not about Hayley or Maria, so they can talk about themselves afterwards. Hayley is a previous guest from, years ago now, isn't it, Hayley? I think you were about episode 40 or something. And
yeah, back in 2018.
Yeah, it will have been a long, long time ago. And so here we are. You guys will be like 127 or 8 or something like that. So yeah. Who'd have thought I'd still be wittering on about embroidery after all these years? Right, okay, bio for Prism. The international exhibiting group Prism brings together a diverse group of selected textile artists showing high quality, fine art textile practice and craftsmanship from around the world. Exhibiting as a group since 1998, it currently has 70 artists participating within Prism, working together to challenge the common misconceptions surrounding textiles as an art form. And I do realise, obviously, Mrs. Yorkshire here, so it's Prism, Prism, and not prison, which I think I might have sounded a bit like. So, yeah, Prism. Yes. We'll have to come back to the name on that as well. And what we're really excited to talk about today, as well as Hayley and Maria, is the exhibition that Prism are working towards, which is going to be starts on the 19th, 20th of April, something on those lines.
The 20th.
20th, yeah.
Opens to the public, yes.
Yeah, that's right. So the 20th of April. So we'll be diving in as well, because I thought this was quite an interesting topic for us all to talk about how, when you've got a diverse, large group and you're exhibiting everyone's all over the place. So a lot of the logistics and how you've organised it, and there's a lot of fascinating things to come out of there. As usual, all the links will be in your episode of stitcherystories.com. But probably the best place is the website, or any particular social media sites to find out?
Yeah. So the website is a great place to find out a little bit more about the history of the group. You can also find out more about our members.
Yeah.
We have a blog, so we occasionally, our artists will do a little blog post about something they've been doing, and we tend to pop all the current exhibition information on there, as well as when we have a new member call out too. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook very cleverly and handily. We are just just at Prism Textiles on everything, which works very well for us.
Brilliant. It's always better if you can just have the same name everywhere. Not always possible, but, well done for grabbing that one. So cool. So there we are. That's the logistics out of the way and the general introductory waffle. So we shall start with, before we dive in too much, then would you like to share with us, both of you, what you're working on, what you're excited about, and then I guess that'll lead on to the nuts and bolts about the exhibition. How about that? So who's going to go first?
Well, I'll go first.
Hey, welcome, Maria, because I don't know you.
Nice to meet you, Sue. Well, I'm finishing my work off a Prism Textiles exhibition.
Oh, I am surprised.
Yeah, so I got sort of most of it done, but I wasn't sure. It's quite a big piece of work, mine. So it's actually a full-size Singer sewing machine with a sewing machine on top, a treadle sewing machine with another sewing machine on top with lots and lots of red thread going out and wrap cord. And I didn't actually know what size plinth I would get. I now know the size plinth, and it's slightly bigger than I thought. So I'm wrapping more cord to make it bigger to fit the plinth.
having got a large plinth, now you've got to fill it.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't know if I said, so Prism's it's very contemporary textile art, isn't it, that you're all working on, and a lot of structural installation type items as well. Obviously that sounds like yours, Maria, with an LCM sewing machine. Lovely. Yeah. And Hayley, what about you? What's got you excited at the moment? Are you finishing things off as well?
Yeah, I am rather cheekily. My original piece that I submitted, that I'm very lucky was selected for the promo for the exhibition, is complete, but I decided to take it upon myself to add another piece to the exhibition, which is mostly finished, but for me, I've been so busy with community projects and teaching and a couple of private commissions that I'm still just trying to get everything finished for the exhibition. And it's really excited about the pieces. They're really sort of about Scarborough and sort of around that sort of like maritime heritage, which is really nice.
Brilliant.
So yeah, looking forward to seeing them in the gallery space, because as lovely and white boxy as my studio is, things always look amazing when they're down in the gallery.
It really does make a big difference, doesn't it, being in that space where the surroundings isn't competing with the thing that you're looking at and exhibiting. So yeah, and I suppose you look at your own stuff all the time, but again, in context with everything else, you get a different viewpoint as well, don't you, when it's all, en masse kind of thing.
Yeah, we love the exhibition. You can see images from last year's exhibition on the website. Just everyone's work together it's that culmination, isn't it, Maria, of everything that we've sort of been sharing when we've been marketing it, and it's brilliant to see everyone's work together in the space.
Absolutely, and we've got such a brilliant space at the moment. We're in the Art Pavilion in Mile End, and it's a brilliant gallery. It's sort of hidden in a mound of earth, and you go into it, you're looking all over it, and it's in Mile End Park, so you're looking for it, you go, where is it? And you see it's like a hillside, grass hillside, and there's a door, you go into it, and it opens out into this amazing gallery, which is kind of curved, and the one of the walls is all glass, and it overlooks the lake with swans on it. It's absolutely amazing gallery, a real showcase for our work.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It kind of sounds like an upmarket Teletubby hill, actually.
Yes. Yes, it has a little window at the top. That's where the light comes in as well. Yeah.
It sounds beautiful. Yeah, and perfect for the style of work that Prism, that you're pulling together. So you mentioned there, dropped it in about marketing. So you two have obviously, have you been elected as spokespersons here, or have you kind of taken this mantle on? And what's your role in being involved with all of this, other than being part of a practicing artist within the group? What else? What else are you doing?
Well, we're sort of this people who are volunteer to do jobs. So when I joined, I put my hand up the first committee, at the first AGM I went to say I would help out with the admin, and since then I've sort of moved through various roles. At the moment, doing social media, and a couple of years ago Hayley joined the group, and I have to say I knew Hayley slightly from when I lived in Manchester.
Right.
Our paths kept crossing, didn't they, Hayley?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, and we so she then volunteered, and so basically we more or less run the social media with another lady called Kim Winter.
Right, brilliant.
Yeah. You find you just sort of take on, when I'm in a group, I like to be an active member. I like to do things. So yeah, Maria and I, it's been really nice to reconnect with Maria, actually. We'd been in the same exhibition years ago.
Right.
But yeah, I sort of do the website and the newsletter and the social media. And yeah, we've taken on, as part of that, some of the role is just helping to sort of promote the exhibition and just promote the work of our members, because they do amazing work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's like, what, 70 members, if I remember. So that's a lot, isn't it? Anyway, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, but sometimes the bigger the group, it can be more difficult to get people to help because there's more places to hide.
Yes.
You know, if it's a small group, you've got less chance of avoiding any jobs, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. I'm one of them people. I turn up and then I'm like, how's this happened? I'm all of a sudden like, oh, will you do this? Or yeah, I'm not very good at saying no in some respects as well. So I know what you mean. Yes, but good on you two for taking upon that role. So, what should we talk about next? How about, do you want to just give a quick viewpoint of Prism and how it's developed and the kind of ethos about that? And then perhaps we can look at the logistics of organising these exhibitions, because it's an annual event, isn't it, with yourselves? So it's a lot to keep on going with. So yeah, so if we do that, tell us a bit about the background of the group, the kind of ethos, and then let's look at the behind the scenes of running an exhibition with a large group of artists who are geographically dispersed. I think that would be very interesting, because lots of listeners will have been involved in exhibitions and have been involved in trying to organise one as well. I certainly have. So I think there's a lot to learn there behind the scenes. Yeah, does that sound like a plan, girls?
Yes, that's fine.
Sounds good. Do you want to take the history side of it, Maria?
Yes. Now I have to say I've only been in the group for about 5 years. We do have some members who've been in it from the outset.
Right.
So I'm a relative newcomer. So basically, it was originally part of the Opus School of Stitch Textiles, which was run by Barbara Marriott and Julia and Alex Caprara, but sadly, Julia passed away. But it carried on under the umbrella of the School of Stitch Textiles.
Right.
And it was set up as a primary aim as an exhibiting group. It was a showcase for the work of all the students, because people used to it was a correspondence course, wasn't it? I think I did one course with it once. And people used to send in work, and so people from across the world were students.
Right, yeah.
And it always used to have the exhibition in the Mall Gallery in London, so that was quite a nice venue. But then in 2010, it was set up as an independent group.
Right.
So it wasn't sort of part of the Opus School anymore. Mm-hmm. It was set up, and it sort of got developed our own constitution, and it became a member-led one.
Right.
So, So it carried on for a few years exhibiting at the Mall Galleries. I have to say we tend to do annual exhibitions, and they tend to be London-based, because I think that's part of the history of the group, that it was sort of based around the Opus School, which was based in London. We have had a couple of forays up to Birmingham. We've been to the Royal...
the Royal Society of Birmingham Artists Gallery, was it?
Yes. And we also been to Whitstable, but generally we're moving around London. So we're now in our current venue, which is the Art Pavilion in Mile End.
Yeah.
And we actually had our first exhibition there in 2021, although it was meant to be in 2020, but because of the pandemic, it was delayed for about 18 months.
That was like our embroidery group with so many people. I think it was like, oh, right, okay, we've got an extra year now to create more stuff. Hooray.
And we're really pleased with this. So that's basically the history of it.
Yeah.
So exhibiting is the main aim of the group.
Yeah.
That is probably the primary reason that we sort of go, existing now, which is great.
Yeah, cool.
But we also have a kind of an ethos of, looking for fine craftsmanship, and our membership is you have to apply to be a member, and then you sort of like, there's a panel who selected, and also our exhibitions are juried as well. You have to submit work, and a panel selects which ones are going in.
Right. So we'll come back. We'll come back to that then. So because I was quite interested in how that works. Right. So obviously this group's got legs, hasn't it? It's been on the go for quite a number of years now, and I'm sure, as most groups, has possibly evolved as well. So Hayley, what's your kind of perspective on the group there?
Yeah, I think for me, I realised I think my membership got accepted not long after I moved to Scarborough. So that'll be sort of December 2020. And like I say, I've been an active member for that time. But what I love about being in the group and what I see is how people are using that. We sort of say that everyone's inspired by textiles. It doesn't necessarily have to be, solely a textile piece of work.
Right.
Maria uses a lot of found objects, and a lot of our artists do. And we're looking at textiles and saying, how can we use those processes? How can we be inspired by textiles to create work? And having that exhibition theme as well can sort of really push you to do something that you wouldn't have normally done. Sometimes I will admit, you look at an exhibition title, don't you? And you go, oh, how am I going to make work for that?
What on earth is that all about?
What does it mean to me? How do I interpret that theme? The fact that this year we've got 48 members exhibiting in the Warped exhibition.
Wow.
You have to exhibit every 3 years. Is that right, Maria?
That's right, yes.
Right. So you can't just go, oh, I'm a member, and not actually doing anything. You are there to exhibit, to take part, to show. Right. Okay. That's worth knowing as well. Then.
Yeah. We want to encourage our artists to to be making new work, and actually the connections have been great. Like I said, on a personal level, I've reconnected with Maria.
Yeah.
But so many of the other artists. We've been doing, just for our members, these little things, virtual collaborations where, we'd been having little Zoom meetups and picking words and creating different pieces of work inspired by that. And, a lot of our members just have little sort of crits, and, Maria and I have regular conversations about our own work and, pushing each other. And it's really nice to connect with other people who are as passionate about textiles as I am.
You get a different viewpoint as well, don't you? And as you say, somebody can say something and it's like, and it'll spark you off in a completely different direction where you were possibly going, just because you've had that like light bulb moment, as it were. So otherwise we can be sat on our own too much as well, can't we? This
all opened up with the pandemic because we've discovered Zoom, which was brilliant. And then that first year when we were due to, because we had because it was locked down in March, and our exhibition was due to start next month in April. So we had to sort of quickly get used to going on Zoom, had a committee meeting, and we went, oh, right, okay, we need to do something. And we actually decided to do two things. One of them was that we would put some of the work online. We'd have an online festival. We'd really get working on our online presence, and we did an online, almost like an online exhibition of work, which was curated but not showing the whole work, just showing details of it, which is really nice. That was really
intriguing.
And then we also thought, we'll do stuff to try and connect to our members more, so we started off having sort of meetings with our members, and that led into what Hayley mentioned, this virtual collaboration. And now people are meeting up on Zoom. It's really good. People are really connecting more. So she's good that something came out.
Yeah, yeah. Strangely, by being apart, people have become more connected, and yeah, there was obviously technology's played a big part in that. There's some research I saw that in the first 6 months of 2020, society leapt forward in technology adoption by about 5 years or something like that. It was quite phenomenal that some university or some research paper I'd seen. So that was like, wow, yeah. And certainly, obviously, I mean, I'd been using Zoom forever since it was invented, kind of thing, because that was my, I was offering services at the time. But it was interesting from an observational point of view to see how people have taken the technology and run with it. So let's talk about, so we've been talking about the way in which the members, are making little subgroups or connecting with each other as well. So what about organising the public face of the group? So you've got your social media accounts there, you've got your website. So how does that work? Who is it, you girls who do that as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so we do. We're part of a much bigger team, aren't we, Maria?
Yeah. So we're the social media side of it. There's also the called the catalogue and marketing team.
Right.
And I suppose that their role now is more the print medium side of it.
The kind of
creating the visuals,
the physical side of it.
Yes. Cool. So we're sort of little set. So there's 3 of us in the social media team and about 3 or 4 in that team. So we connect with each other and sometimes have big meetings together. But cool. We're all busy people.
This is what I'm wondering. Yeah, you're kind of fitting everything in, aren't you, basically?
Yeah. So that's it. It fits around sort of our existing practices and stuff. So like Maria and I sort of cover each other. And as Maria said, the brilliant Kim handles our Twitter, because that's a very different beast to other social media platforms.
Totally.
So
I don't do Twitter really.
Twitter it's so different, isn't it? Because it's not that visual medium. But and like I say, I do the website, making sure things get added onto that. Right, we do have a quarterly newsletter as well, which was actually a lot of feedback, wasn't it, from our previous exhibition? Yes. People asked about if we had a newsletter. We do sort of respond to what the members are wanting, as well as feedback that we get from the lovely visitors who come and see our work every year. And the sort of 14 committee members, we all have our own little jobs, and again, technology helps us there. We have a WhatsApp group, so if someone says, right, this needs doing, or I was thinking about this, we can all get in touch with each other, and then when we've got time, we can respond to things, because everyone's so busy, whether that's with work or family commitments. So technology's really sort of helped us to bring the group together more and help us get tasks done, because it's a busy thing. And Maria and I have checklists of what we need to do on certain dates and get everything well organised in advance.
I like to be organised. I panic if I haven't got a schedule and a list of days. So I'm always getting them together. Hey, can we have a meeting so I can draw up a list? I'll be happier when I've got a list.
It's almost essential though, when you are trying to get the message out there of a diverse group like that, and you can't just make things up either, can you? And if you're representing people's art, then you need the artist to be doing things, giving you images, thinking about threads and schemes and all that kind of thing as well. So it was quite funny when it was like November. We've got our exhibition in April. Can we schedule in, shall we talk about the exhibition and that kind of thing. So now, Hayley, you mentioned that a piece of your work had been accepted and had been used in the kind of promo materials. So there's all of that, isn't there? We can't just suddenly, 2 weeks before, oh hello, we're doing an exhibition. Oh, what art shall we put on it, etc. So talk us through a bit of that background, logistics of just getting the thing organised and publicised? What sort of processes have you used there? Presumably, like Maria was saying, a checklist, so you almost, right, this developing your standard processes and checklists, and then you can use it again the next time as well.
Yeah, I think what we've realised from when we took over is that we did everything too late.
Right.
So we didn't select the work until just after Christmas. So we didn't have a list and any images of work till the end of January. And that was for an exhibition in April.
And is it always April-ish when you exhibit? That's your typical time?
That's the time we aim for, because we find that just suits us, because we had the one that we had to put back because of lockdown. What was in the autumn, and when we were doing all the work, it was in the middle of summer when we were busy, so it just seemed to work quite well. But say when Hayley and I took over, we realised that we'd missed all the deadlines.
Because even print magazines and stuff, things for like, embroidery magazine and stuff like that, you've got several months lead time because they're working on several months lead time, so you've really got to be completely ahead of the game. So that's a good point. So it was already structured not to be successful. So it's like, okay, first thing is bring all the deadlines earlier, I guess.
Yeah, and one of the main things was getting images early, because we can say we wouldn't normally have got the images till end of January, beginning of February, and some of those were just of work in progress. So
impossible to market.
Absolutely. So about this time last year, we came up with the idea of suggesting having an early bird submission. So instead I have 2 submissions, and this was in September.
Oh, so 6 months before the exhibition, you had an early bird submission point.
Yes.
Brilliant idea.
Yes. So Hayley and I, we did a piece of work for it because we thought, well, we've suggested this.
We'll have to get on with it.
Yeah. That's it. You sort of hoist by your own petard, aren't you? When you suggest something and then go, we should lead by example. And then you go, oh, we need to, and that's where that connection works. I wouldn't have made my work if I hadn't chatted to Maria. It was her initial research idea that helped me with my work.
Right. Brilliant.
But we just wanted to get some images in there, get an idea of what people were making, and just help us with that sort of the promotion of the exhibition, and really sort of get. I think the key thing for me is always getting the work of our members out there.
Yes,
it's I think we do that very English thing, don't we, where we don't want to talk about how brilliant we are.
And we're awful, really, at doing that.
And I'm trying to sort of say to people, no, your work really is amazing. Let's, we need to get that out there, and we've got some great work. I mean, we always do. There's our members constantly, doing different things, and you sort of look at the work and you're like, ooh, and then you read the sort of application form and you're like, that's how they got there from this one word. And the theme for this year's exhibition is warped.
Right. Yes, I was going to dive into that in a minute because I'm quite intrigued by that whole thing. So by having earlier deadlines, because let's face it, there's nothing as magic as a deadline, is there, to kick you in the backside and get on and get something done. So, and it sound so obvious.
It doesn't.
If we don't have any images or not of any finished work, how on earth can we promote it to attract people? Because let's face it, social media is so busy. There's so many things going on. You've raised a very important point there. Yeah, cool. What I was just going to come back to you was that comment there about, aren't we all so English about not promoting our work? So you're showcasing your members, aren't you? Is there a specific way in which you do that? Do you have spotlights on people, or how do you do that? Because again, you're trying to represent 70 odd people, in a nutshell, aren't you? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's it. Maria and I split down all the members and actually wrote spotlight posts about everyone. So we were using, exhibition images from previous years and a work from the website, and just trying to sort of, share a little bit about each of our members if they are on social media, tagging them in posts so that people who are following us can, have a look at the members. And I think for me, it's about engaging with other people and sort of showing them, the work that we do, and sharing where they might be able to, have a workshop from one of our members. A lot of our members run workshops, or they're running, things like open studio events, or they're going to be doing something like having their work included in an exhibition, and getting that word out there. And I suppose for me as well, like shouting loud about textile art.
Yeah.
We've all been doing this a long time, but textile art still doesn't have the profile that it should. It's still sort of, lumped in, isn't it? It's either gets put in craft or in mixed media and doesn't have its own category. So yeah, just sharing that, brilliant work and engaging with people who might also be interested in, joining the group or visiting an exhibition, and finding out more about, the processes people use and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And certainly from my, what I see running Stitch with Stories is, that's one of the main points of why I do this, is to help people find other people, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And anyone listening, please, I just love it. If you find an artist on the podcast, it's really brilliant if you actually just post or send me a message or comment and go, oh, I've just found XYZ person. Brilliant. I love their art. I didn't know about they existed. Thanks. Even just doing that, it takes you 2 minutes. It means the world to me. It means the world to the artist that you've discovered. And it gives everybody else enthusiasm as well, because then the more comments we have, the more people will find us, and so I really love that. So I would encourage you, A, to always comment and things like that. But B, if you are feeling a bit, oh, well, I don't really like doing social media, or I do. People love to hear and love to see what you're doing. So if you do tend to hide, please don't, because otherwise we don't know you exist and we can't find you, and we want to. So
it's a perfect way to put it. I always say, because I think people think what they do isn't exciting, but I think it is. I love to see, I love to see what Maria's working on. I love to see what our other members are doing, and what we do is so exciting to people who might have done a bit of basic sewing.
Yeah,
that it's really great to sort of get inspire them and show them the work of different things, and like you say, to get to meet an artist in real life and at different events and stuff is just brilliant. And reels has been a big learning curve for all of us, making reels. We won't dwell on that too much, but there's the different social medias are good. It's hard to sort of keep an eye on sometimes, isn't it, Maria? We get lots of stuff, and we, like you say, Maria and I take it in turns. If we're super busy, the other one takes it over, and it's nice to sort of and we both have a different take on it.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll both have a different, as you say, a different approach, or just a different way of wording things, or a different way of visually representing things. So just comment there about reels. Just because we see all these people who've spent obviously hours faffing around creating this fabulous reel, which is there for like 8 seconds, don't all think that that's what you have to do. You can do, if anybody sees any of mine, most of mine are like talking head. I'm sat here, well, I'll stand up and do them, but and it's like a couple of minutes. That's, I'm just getting that message out. The ones I do for these episodes I've started doing, they do really, really well. And I deliberately, they're going to be 1.5 minutes. This is Stitch with Stories. This is so-and-so. I'm speaking to the artist about this. This is what we're talking about. They're brilliant. Go and look at them. They don't take hours. We don't need all the fancy transitions and the pointing and all that. Just forget all that. Get your face out there and talk about your art. That doesn't take hours.
It doesn't.
That's really good to hear, because they scare me, reels. But it's really, one thing I'd like to say is that our members are getting a lot better on Instagram as well, because not many did Instagram before, but I think because we've been pushing it, I've noticed a lot of people are becoming more engaged and using their accounts more and posting.
Yeah.
So they're doing loads of our publicity for us. They just share everything with our friends.
Well, that's it. The easiest way to support any artist is to share their stuff. Comment, and comment. Yeah, excellent.
A lovely thing happened last week, didn't it? So somebody from our brilliant catalogue and marketing team just did like a poster blank so that all the members can insert their own image into it.
Brilliant.
And it has, so they can have all that information on there, all the stuff we need, because obviously we have to check that galleries are happy with the text that we put on there. And it's, that's another thing, like making sure that everyone, tags people appropriately and stuff. But yeah, it's been really nice to see people using their own images in it. And previously myself and Hannah Hayes, another member, who was doing what I do now, but took a step back because you can't, sort of run things in a group. No. But she and I we just did a little Zoom where we just talked to people through Instagram. And, Maria and I always say to people, if there's something you want to do or there's something you're not sure about, get in touch with us, the members, and we can help you do something. And, I think that's what's been really great, that sort of, sharing information between members and, helping us all to grow. And yeah, I've seen loads of brilliant stuff being posted by our members on Instagram.
Yeah, cool. And again, just back to that, it's almost the statement of the damn obvious. Having a template where people can just put in their artwork, it saves. How many hours has that saved? Yes, some person spent an hour or whatever doing it, and that has now saved everybody else tons of time. You've got a consistent look and feel. You've got consistent information. It looks really professional, organised as well. And you've just saved a million tons of time as well. So another top tip there. Again, these sound so obvious, but crikey, there's loads of people who have been running exhibitions going, oh God, yeah, that's a really good idea.
That's it. And I encourage anyone, I know you do, Maria, to have a go at organising things. And some of our members are in other little groups as well that have been taking things that, you can take things that you learn, don't you? And, like I say, we've all been sharing techniques and things, and lots of different stuff and it comes out in other people's work and other groups that they're members of.
Yeah, it does.
Exactly. Yeah, that's cool. Now, so I was going to ask you about warped. So the theme of warped, when you set a title like this, that's it, warped, and you can just interpret that in whatever warped means to you, or is there some other guidelines, or how does that work?
No, it's very much up to the members how they interpret it. It's interesting how we get to the title, because we're a democratic group.
Yeah.
So it is chosen by the members and selected by the members, because we'll vote on it.
Cool.
And then we all panic and go, oh, I didn't vote for that. How am I going to do it? And then you have this sort of period of kind of talking to people about it and coming up with ideas. I always head for a dictionary and just see what warped means. I actually did have an idea of a piece of work in my head prior to the title being chosen, so I just went with that. But I did all my research, and that's when I was able to sort of tell Hayley what I'd found out, and then she was able to get away into it, weren't you, Hayley?
That's it. Yeah, sometimes I will admit, like with anything, like when you go online and you answer an exhibition call out. I know, Maria, you've been doing quite a few different exhibitions with House of Smalls in the Dollhouse, and sometimes a word gets put out there and you go, oh no, that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, the warped one for my work came from Maria's dictionary deep dive. So, and I had to explain a bit as well to our lovely selection panel and say that it's warped is a nautical one for us on the coast, Sue. When you haul a boat ashore with a rope tied to a stationary object, that is called warping. So my work has a distinct nautical feel, inspired by, let's say, Scarborough's maritime heritage and my walks around the harbour. And let's say I wouldn't have got there without Maria.
No, so that's a new word, a new term on a new variety on warp and warping. So yeah, here, see, we don't have a harbour, So our boats are launched in and off the beach. So it's amazing. They literally, when they're coming in, they like drive them onto the double hold, and they drive them onto the and they're onto the sand. It's watching them. Same thing. They launch them off back of a tractor. You know, they kind of reverse into the water, and then they've got enough water to float, and off they go. So that might be a version of warping, perhaps. But warp. So there's loads of different things you can do. So yours was a nautical version. What about you, Maria? What interpretation of warped did you come up with?
Well, I suppose a process, because I tend to do 3D work, and it was just the process of, wrapping and manipulating cords. So it kind of came from that, my work.
Yeah.
So I took a bit of a cop out, really. But
we won't tell anyone.
But the final result is something that is really warped, in the sense of what we use to the term warp now, to the extent that my grandson can't even bear to look at it. He goes, "I don't like that, Grandma, it's horrible," because it's got all red, it's like red blood, it looks like blood coming out.
Right.
So it's very warped in two senses.
Yeah, because we've got the sense of, we've got the weft and the warp of weaving, haven't we? We've got the warped as it's something's misshapen over time. We've got the warped as in it's a warped sense of humour, kind of a strange way of looking at things. We've got the nautical thing. There's probably a million other interpretations as well. So I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fascinating, therefore, seeing what people have come up with that particular word. So do you all put some words in and then pick some good ones out of that and things that might have a lot of interpretive value?
Well, it's all very official now. That's what used to happen. But then we were inundated with the hundreds of suggestions.
Yeah.
So now there is a separate subcommittee. Well, it's a little group that's set up each year.
Yeah.
And it has different members in it. So anybody can ask to join it. And they have a few meetings, and they're chaired by our wonderful secretary, Willeke, who lives in the Netherlands, and she gets everybody talking, and they come up with a list of about 10 suggestions,
right, yeah,
which sort of gets weeded down a little bit. Then we put it out to the members.
Yeah, that sounds like, as I say, otherwise you've just got this endless list and this endless loop, and again it just takes forever, doesn't it? And when you're a volunteer organisation, nobody's got the time to be wasting's the wrong word, but to be spent on activities that can be organised in a more efficient way. So I think that's been quite a good. And how far in advance do you come up with these words? So like with your exhibiting, when this comes out, we'll time this with your exhibition, so that'll be like April. So when did you come up with warped, and therefore have you got something for next year already?
Well, last year, Warped was announced at the Members' Day, because part of the first day of the exhibition, we have a Members' Day as well. Right. So it was announced then. So it was probably, they started talking about it in, I don't know, the January before. I don't know. I wasn't involved in that. So it's been, but we've asked it to come a little bit forward this year.
Right.
Even
earlier.
And the title has already been announced. And I don't know whether we can make it probably. What do you think?
I don't think we can. But
people have to follow you then, won't they? They'll have to follow you to find out after the exhibition, no doubt.
That's it. When we plop in the save the date for the 2024 exhibition. But I think some of our members are probably already starting to think about it. Especially as a lot of members, they've finished their work now for Warped, and they're thinking about how they're going to be getting it to the gallery and stuff. And so we're it's, I think for me, it's just always exciting seeing how people interpret that theme. For next year, I'm interested to see what's going to be happening.
So back to the one we haven't seen yet, so 2023. So another thing that just dawned on me there is how would you go about hanging and planning where things are going? And because I know when our embroidery group did ours, it was like, it seems to take forever to whittle down what we're going to hang, and I was there working it out. Well, we've got the length of the because it was the proper metal things with the clips, the exhibition and the rail and stuff. And I think, right, they're that long, so we might be able to fit about 3 on, and I was like Mrs. Logic here, working it all out. Right, maximum we can fit in is like X, It's like, oh, super God's sake. But how do you do it? And if you've got lots of 3D things.
Well, we have a wonderful exhibition team, which is run by 2 ladies called Marion and Marilyn. So that causes a bit of confusion. But between them, they've been organising the exhibitions now for, this is, I think, their 5th or 6th exhibition.
Ah, right. Old hands at it then.
Yeah,
cool.
so I have to say that when we do have the submission process, so people have to submit work.
Yeah.
And it's looked at, but the selection is not based on whether it will fit in the gallery. It's based on quality of work. So it doesn't, you don't think, oh, that's not going to fit. So if your work gets sort of, not accepted, it's not because it won't fit in the gallery, unless it was like really big, obviously, like a bus or something. But what they then do is, once they know the number of pieces, they then know which one needs plinths. We have plinths, they allocate the plinths.
Yeah, because you do have a lot of 3D things as well. I was looking at the artist gallery, there's a lot showing 3D, so that takes up a lot more space, doesn't it?
But Marion's husband can make plinths if we're really short of them.
Oh, brilliant.
But there's obviously the problem of storage. But the way Marion works is she actually creates a 3D model of the gallery,
right?
And she gets all the images of the works and she prints them out to scale, and she puts them in the galleries, in her little model gallery, so that she can see how it looks.
Oh, so it's an actual physical model, not a digital mock-up software thing.
Well, that's how Marion works, and it's always worked up to now. Yeah,
what a brilliant idea. That's it.
And again, the members get involved, so people can go and help with hanging the exhibition. Sort of the 3 days before the exhibition, 2 of them is like getting all the work there and everything, and then the day before we always have the members' day. And then the private view, and everyone's encouraged to sort of get involved. So you need to take that active part. So our members all steward the exhibition, and you can, so when you're coming to the gallery to see it, you are talking to some of our members. So you'd be able to see their work. You'd be able to chat to them.
Doesn't that make all the difference as well? It's lovely chatting to the people whose work's there. Yeah, excellent. Love that. And now the other thing being, I spotted that you're running some workshops as well.
Yes, we are.
And is that a new thing, or do you always run workshops?
We started it in 2020 because it's such a big space. It's sort of we can run workshops.
Lovely.
And also the gallery is run by Tower Hamlets Council, and so one of the things that they do encourage is, to have community engagement.
Yeah, lovely.
So we're running a series of free workshops, and they're all run by our members. So we ask for volunteers, and we've got quite a nice program of them. And I'm doing one where I'm making art from found objects.
I spotted that, yes.
Yeah, because I like doing 3D works. But we've got somebody doing stitch stories, yarn. I think it's kind of an eco printing. So there's lots and lots of things in it. Yeah, and they're all on our website. There's probably too many for me to go through now, but they're all on our website, and you just turn up and go to them. I suggest you turn up early, because there is a limit. It's so some of them are to 10, but some of them are a bit more flexible. So.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So on the website, it does show you the list of workshops, and there's a fascinating range. So anybody who can get to the exhibition with a view of it's like certain days, isn't there, when there's things on, then go ahead, because they look really great, and take the opportunity there to join in. and have a free workshop as well. So
yeah, we're excited too, because obviously sometimes we get a lot of younger audiences.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple of little different trails as well. So just encouraging younger children to come over to the Ways of Textile Art and see what they can spy in the gallery, which is really nice as well.
Oh, kids love doing that anyway, don't they? Yeah, what you can I spy kind of thing. Brilliant. Yeah. And have you got any like school, local school textile groups or anything like that? Do you get them booked in or reach out to them in any way?
I think we do. Yeah, I think we do. We've got a couple of our members have a background in teaching, so we're sort of in contact with that sort of local schools and colleges and stuff, and letting them know that the exhibition's on. We do get inquiries as well, don't we, through the website and social media. Lovely. About, tutors saying, oh, when's your exhibition, and, when can we come and see things? So, yeah, I'm hoping we get some, like I say, encouraging younger people and people who are studying textiles to see that it is a sort of, valid art form, and they can come and, have a look at some textile art in a gallery setting and get inspired by it.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's come and have a look and get inspired by the different range, I say the fascinating range of artists creating the fascinating range of things in response to that term of warped. So yeah, that'd be really great. So obviously, I'm at the other end of the country, so I can definitely say I won't sadly be going there. But I do look forward to seeing the images posted online by you two lovely ladies, so that we can all share and comment and just be inspired exactly the same in a different way, but a nice way too. So I always ask the question at the end, don't I? Like, looking forward to next steps and things. So and I know you haven't got there yet. You're a month away from actually doing the exhibition. But I guess if you've already got your word for next year, and then you've got your own work, of course, so, both of you in turn, what are you looking forward to after the exhibition? What other plans and projects have you got that you can share with us? And if there's anything else, we can keep our eye out for the exhibition as well. So lump all of that into one gobbledygook question. There you are. Go.
I'll go first, Maria. So yeah, if for like you, Sue, if you can't get to see my work down in London, I am also making, finishing off that, the specific exhibition pieces for Warped, but that's a bigger project that I'm working on. So I am doing other sort of seaside inspired work, and I take part in North Yorkshire Open Studios on the first 2 weekends of June. So you can come and have a nosy around my home studio and watch my cat run away from you in terror. But yeah, I'm going to be showing my Warped pieces in that, and some other seaside inspired work from a collection called Fancy Goods. So when these exhibition pieces are packed up and delivered, it's cracking on for more exhibition pieces. I've currently got a piece in the Inspired By Gallery in Danby until May.
Right, yes, that gets a mention quite often, actually.
Yeah, it's a really nice gallery, and I mean, it's in the heart of the, it's in sort of brilliant Danby, to see at Danby. And I'm actually on the 13th of May doing a demo in the gallery, so you can get to come and see me stitching, not in my natural habitat, in a different habitat. But yeah, just lots of exhibition pieces for me, and amongst doing all my wonderful teaching.
Yeah, yes, because I know that's a big aspect of your practice, isn't it? Your community work and your teaching and so on as well.
Yeah, it is. So. And again, just getting to engage with people through stitch and helping them find their creative voice.
Right, so that's a bit of a veiled Sue, get your ass out of your house and come and have a look. And there's other people I know, of course, in North Yorkshire as well. So I really. Yeah, I'll have to make more of an effort. I've had just a couple of other people saying, Sue, when are you going to come and look at my new studio? And Sue, when are you going to come and do this? It's like, oh, no, yes.
Time gets away from us, doesn't it? There's too much happening in the world.
It totally is. And there's just me here as well, do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like doing everything. So I'm a single mum. So it's like, yeah. But I shall make an effort and look out for that, Hayley. So never mind. It's not that far. It's only an hour for me to get up to Scarborough. So it sounds a long time, but it's not very far. But it's like, wiggly roads. So. Cool. Right. So we can keep our eye out for Hayley. And then Maria, what about you? What are your projects and next steps and things to look forward to?
Well, Hayley mentioned during lockdown I found this it was online gallery at the time called the House of Smalls.
Yes, why have I heard of those? I think some of the Peg ladies have done some things for them. That rings a bell.
They have. Now, it started off just in dolls' houses, and it was just wonderful for me because I often make large 3D work, and it was really good to be able to do small maquettes, and see what it would look like. So the piece that I've got in for Prism in the current exhibition in Warped was actually started off as a small doll's house version. I bought online a small treadle sewing machine, and it was exhibited in this exhibition. And it did confuse a few people because it does look quite real unless you know what it's like. And when I did submit the work, people had said, "Well, hasn't she already exhibited that work?" And they asked me the question. I had to say, "Well, no, that was a tiny little model, and this is a big piece of work."
Right. So you've now scaled it up. So you've upped your proportions and scaled it up. That's an interesting approach, though, isn't it? You started off with a small one and now you've scaled it up to a big one.
I kind of wanted to see what it would look like, but the House of Smalls, I've just had a work piece in that, and that's just finished, and I've just put in a submission for their next exhibition. But they've also got a proper gallery now in Chipping Camden, and I do hope to start to make some bigger work. Perhaps not this time, but next time, and sort of get out there a bit more. And I'm also in another group called Phoenix Textiles, which is based in Kingston-on-Thames, which is where I located to about 5 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And we've got an exhibition coming up in September, so I've now got to start working on that as well.
And does that have early bird submission dates?
No, we're a lot more low-key. There's only 10 of us.
Right, yeah.
So we don't have a submission. We just make it and turn up on
Turn up with it, yeah. That's what our group was like, literally why it was like, because we wanted ours to be a representation of all sorts of different styles and levels, because that's what the group is, so that's why our criteria was what can we fit in the gallery, because we didn't want people to think, oh, I'm not good enough or whatever. And actually all the work was fantastic, but it's back to that story in people's heads.
Yeah.
Oh no, I won't put anything in. I'm not as good as X, Y, and Z. You are, absolutely, and you are going to put something in. So yeah. But yeah, so busy bee then with all your exhibition stuff as well. So epic. Right, okie dokie. So everybody, keep your eye out for either the real life, because that venue sounds ace. It sounds really great. It sounds a beautiful place. Looking at the range of artists involved in Prism, it's going to be an absolute treat. Looking at all of the work, and thank you, Maria and Hayley, for shedding a bit of the behind the scenes gory details about how these things come from an idea and an event into an actual exhibition with actual work hanging on actual walls. So yeah, I really appreciate you both coming to talk to me and sharing some of your stories and the behind the scenes secrets. I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much, both of you.
Oh, thanks so much, Sue.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to both.
Thank you, Sue. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we'll all remember, everyone, keep sharing things, because that's how we all grow together then, don't we? So back to the nautical thing. A rising tide lifts all boats. There we are. That's where we need to be. Epic. Right. Thank you both so much. And everybody, you can follow Prism Textiles everywhere and go and check on their website. And if you can get to the exhibition, do it. It sounds great. Okie dokie. Thank you very much, Maria and Hayley. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, then please join the Stitchery Stories fan club so you can get an email when a new episode is released. It's a quick and easy way of listening and of keeping up with any news and information around this podcast. Please visit stitcherystories.com. Of course, you can listen to Stitchery Stories on plenty of podcast apps at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and plenty more besides. You can also ask your smart speaker to play Stitchery Stories podcast too. But wherever you listen, why not leave us a rating and a review to encourage other people to listen too? I very much appreciate you taking the time to do that for me. So that is the end of our stitchery story for today. Keep stitching, keep smiling, and keep creating your very own stitchery stories.